The fluorescent lights of the supermarket flicker and die for the final time. Outside, the emergency siren stopped ringing 2 hours ago. Inside, absolute primal panic has taken over. A grown man is physically fighting a desperate mother over the last crushed case of bottled water in aisle 4. Blood is drawn over a piece of plastic. This is hour 6 of a total grid collapse. While the desperate masses tear each other apart for obvious supplies, a quiet observer walks right past the war zone. This person is not looking at the bottled water or the canned beans. They are heading to sections of the store that the panicked herd completely ignores. They understand a terrifying truth about human psychology and survival. Standard prepper checklists are a fatal trap. Everyone knows they need to grab flashlights and batteries, but true survivalists operate on a completely different level of awareness. They know that the actual life-saving gear vanishes silently in the very first moments of chaos. Not because the panicked crowd buys them, but because the educated few clear them out before the panic even begins. Today we are going to expose the hidden inventory of the survival elite. These are the covert items that will dictate who thrives and who perishes when the system falls. Let us step away from the bloody water aisle and walk over to the seasonal pool supply section. Here sits the ultimate secret to infinite hydration. While people fight for a temporary gallon of water, the educated survivor secures a lifetime supply of it with a simple bag of pool shock. Specifically, they are grabbing calcium hypochlorite granules at a 68% concentration. According to historical data on disaster zones, waterborne illnesses like cholera and dysentery are the leading causes of rapid mortality. One single bag of this chemical compound purifies up to 10,000 gallons of contaminated water. That is enough clean drinking water to keep a family of 4 alive and healthy for nearly 14 years. A microscopic fraction of a teaspoon treats an entire gallon to safe drinking standards. It stores indefinitely on your shelf without ever degrading. The smart survivor secures this massive advantage while the crowd bleeds over a single bottle of Dasani. Next, we move to the baby care aisle, a section survivalists raid for a completely different reason. They are hunting for unscented, sealed multi-packs of baby wipes. In a grid-down nightmare, running tap water disappears instantly. Hygiene is no longer a matter of personal comfort, it is a matter of life and death. Without proper sanitation, a minor scrape turns into a life-threatening staph infection within 72 hours. These wipes provide full-body sanitation capability with absolutely zero water required. One sealed pack handles daily personal hygiene, cleans wound surfaces, cools the body during deadly heat stress, and disinfects basic medical tools. You must ensure they are strictly unscented. Scented versions contain harsh chemical compounds that will severely irritate open wounds and cause painful inflammation. Now we walk swiftly to the hardware section, intentionally bypassing the standard household trash bags. Normal garbage bags are paper-thin and entirely useless in a brutal physical environment. You are looking for 6mm thick black contractor bags. This is not a bag, but a highly versatile survival tool. In 60 seconds, it becomes a waterproof shelter layer or a heavy-duty rain poncho to fight off hypothermia. It serves as a ground moisture barrier, a water collection funnel, and a secure waste management system to prevent camp disease. Unlike standard plastic that tears under minor stress, a 6mm bag can physically hold the weight of an adult human body. A box costs a few dollars but replaces hundreds of dollars of fragile camping gear. While still in the hardware aisle, the veteran survivor picks up a tiny tube of cyanoacrylate superglue. This sounds incredibly ordinary until you understand emergency trauma medicine. When hospitals are dark and surgical sutures are impossible to find, this medical-grade formulation is the exact same compound field surgeons use to close deep lacerations. Applied over a clean cut, it seals the bleeding faster than any traditional bandage and holds firmly under intense physical stress. Beyond saving a life, it bonds broken tactical gear, permanently reseals cracked boot soles, and fixes shattered water containers. A $2 tube of this liquid will vastly outperform $20 of standard first aid supplies when you are miles away from a doctor. You might have successfully patched your wounds and secured your water supply, but your journey to safety is about to come to a grinding halt if you ignore the most critical vulnerability on your own body. That critical vulnerability is your feet. When the grid inevitably collapses, modern transportation dies with it. Gas stations run dry, roads become gridlocked parking lots, and you are forced to move on foot through unforgiving terrain. If you are wearing standard cotton socks, you are unknowingly sabotaging your own survival. Cotton aggressively absorbs moisture from sweat and rain, holding that dampness directly against your fragile skin. Marching just 2 miles in wet cotton socks will produce debilitating friction blisters. Pushing forward to 4 miles guarantees open, bleeding wounds. By mile 6, the excruciating pain makes walking genuinely impossible, turning you into an easy target. The educated survivalist bypasses the cotton entirely and secures 100% wool socks. Merino wool is a miraculous natural fiber that actively regulates your core temperature and strongly resists odor-causing bacteria. Crucially, wool retains its thermal insulating properties even when completely saturated in freezing water. The sporting goods section housing quality wool socks will be completely emptied by hour 4 of any serious regional emergency. You must own at least 3 heavy-duty pairs long before the disaster strikes. Once you are on the move, a terrifying silence will blanket the world. The digital infrastructure you rely on every second of the day has vanished. Your expensive smartphone is now just a dead, useless brick of glass and metal. Cellular towers rely on weak backup generators that typically fail within a mere 24 hours. Internet routing centers collapse far faster than the general public expects under extreme grid stress. You are now blind and deaf to the surrounding chaos. The only reliable lifeline left is a hand crank AM and FM emergency radio. Do not rely on a phone application or a standard battery-powered model. A hand crank device requires absolutely no external batteries, no charging cables, and zero network connectivity. Major AM broadcast towers are hardened national security facilities. They run on massive independent backup power systems designed specifically to operate for weeks after a catastrophic national blackout. These towers will continuously transmit vital weather alerts, safe zone coordinates, and public safety announcements. In the dark, isolating hours of a total grid failure, a few turns of a manual crank will bring you the only verified truth left on Earth. But receiving external information is only half the battle, because communicating with your own bloodline is about to become your greatest nightmare. This brings us to the most overlooked yet devastatingly simple item on the entire survival list. You must write this down immediately. You desperately need a physically printed, handwritten personal contact book sealed securely inside a waterproof plastic sleeve. Modern humans suffer from severe digital amnesia. Every crucial phone number, every safe house address, and every medical detail of your family is trapped inside electronic devices. Psychological studies prove that under the crushing stress of a life or death emergency, cognitive overload severely impairs memory recall. The average panicked person can barely remember 2 or 3 phone numbers from memory alone. That memory wipeout represents a complete and fatal failure of your family coordination plan. Paper costs absolutely nothing. A waterproof protective sleeve costs barely $1. Taking 5 short minutes tonight to physically write down the numbers of every person who matters is the single highest return action on this entire list. Nobody thinks to do this until the screens go permanently black. As the dark days blur together, your prepackaged canned food will inevitably run out. You need a silent, renewable protein acquisition system that does not rely on loud, attention-grabbing firearms. The Smart Prepper always carries 30 meters of 20-pound test monofilament fishing line and a 10-pack of size 8 fishing hooks. This invisible, lightweight toolkit fits effortlessly inside any jacket pocket. Beyond pulling calorie-dense fish from local streams, this strong, transparent line serves a brilliant secondary tactical purpose. It can be strung tightly around your temporary sleep perimeter at shin height to create an invisible, silent tripwire system against intruders. The combined weight is under 1 single ounce. The total financial cost is practically invisible. In a starving, grid-down scenario where food access is entirely uncertain, this represents the highest calorie return per dollar of any item you can hoard. Back in the looted grocery aisle, while the chaotic mob fights over expensive, single-use medical bandages, you should calmly secure a massive box of baking soda. Do not buy the tiny kitchen containers. You want the large industrial sealed boxes. This unassuming white powder is an absolute survival multi-tool with at least 8 vital life-saving functions. It safely cleans dirty wounds to prevent deadly sepsis. It maintains critical dental hygiene when standard toothpaste runs out. It rapidly suppresses dangerous grease and electrical fires in makeshift survival camps. It controls deadly body odors that might attract unwanted human or animal attention. It acts as a powerful surface disinfectant for your gear, settles severe digestive issues, and perfectly adjusts the alkalinity of your boiled drinking water. One single box effectively replaces an entire cabinet of expensive, specialized products. Yet, all of these ingenious tools and tactics require functioning human hands to operate them. Every single physical task in a ruined, debris-filled city will aggressively destroy unprotected flesh within 30 short minutes. Moving shattered concrete, handling jagged glass, and swinging heavy breaching tools under high stress will literally rip your palms apart. An infected, deep laceration on your dominant hand, with absolutely zero access to modern antibiotics, is a definitive death sentence. You must secure heavy-duty work gloves featuring cut-resistant leather palms and full finger coverage. Standard synthetic gardening gloves will compress uselessly under pressure and offer zero protection against slicing hazards. True leather work gloves vanish from hardware stores by hour 3 of a crisis, and nobody notices until they inevitably pick up a piece of sharp shrapnel. However, protecting your hands is useless if you cannot protect your vital electronics, preserve your scavenged food, or signal for rescue when all hope seems entirely lost. That critical protection comes in the form of a heavy-duty, commercial-grade roll of aluminum foil. Do not mistake this for the flimsy wrapper you use for kitchen leftovers. Standard foil tears under the slightest pressure, rendering it completely useless in a brutal survival scenario. You need the thickest, industrial-grade foil available. When a catastrophic electromagnetic pulse or a severe solar flare strikes, wrapping your crucial small electronics in multiple tight layers creates an improvised Faraday cage. This simple act shields your communication devices from frying instantly. But its utility extends far beyond electronic defense. It serves as a lightweight, indestructible cookware replacement for boiling water or cooking scavenged food over an open, smoky fire. In the desperate daylight hours, it transforms into a highly reflective signaling mirror to catch the attention of distant rescue helicopters. It can be utilized to reflect radiant heat back into your freezing shelter, shaped into a makeshift funnel for rainwater collection, or used to seal food caches airtight against hungry scavengers. One single $4 roll provides more genuine emergency utility than a backpack full of expensive, heavy camping gimmicks. The distinction in grade truly matters when your life absolutely depends on it holding together. As the days turn into weeks, the psychological toll of the collapse will crush the human spirit faster than physical hunger. This brings us to item 12, a controversial preparation that nobody officially lists because it sounds socially irresponsible. You must secure sealed bottles of high-proof spirits, specifically clear vodka or harsh whiskey at an 80-proof minimum. Let us be brutally honest about human nature and survival. When the pharmacies are looted bare, high-proof alcohol serves as a highly effective, primitive antiseptic to sterilize severe wounds and medical instruments. In a freezing downpour, it acts as a volatile fire accelerant to ignite damp, stubborn tinder. But its greatest power lies in human desperation. In any extended societal disruption, fiat currency and digital bank accounts become instantly worthless. Alcohol transforms into the ultimate globally recognized barter currency on the black market. It requires zero refrigeration, it literally never expires, and it holds undeniable value to absolutely everyone. Furthermore, managing plummeting morale and crushing anxiety during high stress, prolonged emergencies, is a very real physiological need. Nothing else on this entire survival list addresses the dark reality of psychological collapse quite like this. These bottles will completely vanish from liquor store shelves within 2 short hours of any serious emergency broadcast. Finally, we arrive at the ultimate pillar of improvised engineering. If you can only afford to own one single item from this entire list, make it original, silver fabric-backed duct tape. Do not fall for the cheap, shiny plastic film knockoffs that peel off in the sun. The fabric-backed original is a structural powerhouse designed to hold under sustained, brutal stress. It is the difference between a broken window letting in freezing rain and a securely sealed, waterproof barrier. It repairs torn tactical clothing, permanently seals cracked water containers, and acts as a heavy-duty binding for fractured bone splints. When applied directly to high-friction points on your feet before a long evacuation march, It completely eliminates the formation of debilitating blisters. In absolute worst-case medical scenarios, it can even serve as an emergency wound closure device when you have nothing else. Cheap plastic versions will melt in the heat or peel away in the dampness within hours. The exact specification of the fabric backing is the thin line between a reliable tool and a deadly useless prop. These are the 13 invisible lifelines. None of them are featured on any standard mainstream prepper checklist. They will all be completely gone within the first 6 hours of a true grid collapse. This mass disappearance does not happen because the general public panics and buys them. It happens because the tiny fraction of people who think clearly and strategically have already secured them long before the panic even starts. The gap between the prepared survivor and the desperate victim is never about having more money. It is entirely about acquiring critical information and acting upon it before the window of opportunity slams shut. You now hold that information, but acquiring gear is only the preparation phase. The next critical step is execution. In the next video, we will expose exactly what hardened military veterans do in the first 60 minutes of a confirmed grid collapse. That specific rapid action sequence determines every single outcome that follows. If you do not have that sequence memorized before you need it, none of the 13 items we just covered will matter at all. Subscribe to Primal Methods right now. That life-saving video drops next.